perseverance alone does not assure success, no amount of stalking will lead to game in a field that has none. Interestingly, right now, in this world of hustle culture, in this world of... Did you make up the term toxic productivity? No, I thought it was your daughter. Oh, okay. Okay.
I have this channel to help security guards, right? I was certified as a security guard instructor in the state of New York. Though I don't pretty much practice it. I don't live in New York, and my certification in Pennsylvania for that doesn't really count. The laws here are different, and I don't have a school, but I have this online presence which I'm trying to grow, and it's just pretty much about investment, self-improvement for the security guards. And Jocko says a lot of things that are insightful, and I want to be the person to try to help security translate what he's saying in a way where it affects you know how to use the tools he's talking about. So it's gonna be a long one. He's talking about hustle, toxic culture, and stuff like that, because sometimes we get in this grind of doing a lot of overtime. We neglect our health, we neglect our family, and we're just about making money and don't realize why we need the money or why we want the money. And we're working for the sake of working. We're working because, you know, we want to be a team player only, and there has to be an equivalent exchange when we're working with the company and we're doing all these hours, or we're working with multiple companies to achieve a goal.
So culture, yeah, let's go. Let's get stuff done. Let's make things happen. But this is an important thing to remember. It's in line with that conversation which we've talked about. We talked about on the game podcasts. You know, which game are you playing? You're playing soccer or playing basketball? You know, in soccer you can only score a point, maybe 2 points. In basketball you can score 30. So what game are you playing? Well, when you're stalking, you're crawling. You're low crawling. You're sneaky. You can't see very much at all. Look, you might be following a trail, but you don't know how long that trail goes for. You don't know how far it goes. You have no idea.
I think I'm just gonna leave it this size. I like that because it's talking about goals. How long are your goals? And what are the steps to reach that goal? Sometimes we get blind. Then it's about clarity of vision. Do you understand where you're going? And how you translate this for self-improvement in the security guard field is, do you want to be a supervisor? Do you want to be the top guard in your post and get recognized? Do you want to go from security to law enforcement to the federal? How do you do that? How long does it take? Like, are you aware that you want to be an agent? Some places will not hire you if you don't have at least 5 years of police or military experience, right? Some jobs will not hire you as a security guard unless you have military or police experience. So for civilians like me, you have to maneuver a certain way within the security guard field so you can make it to where you want, where you're in a position where you're credited, you know, you're getting paid well, and you know, you're about it, that there's advancement, right? And sometimes we just don't understand how to get there.
But if you're not careful, you just might be hunting in a field that has no animals in it. There's no game in there.
So there's limitations. So what we can do in any discipline, any job we're at, right? For example, you're a cashier. You've been doing this for 5, 6, 7, 8 years, and you never thought about having your own store. You know, so what am I trying to get with this? You're a security guard and want to make good money. You want to be able to make your own moves. Have you thought about having your own security contract? You know, having your own company, being an owner operator. Do you have the skills already for it? Or you're just missing the finances for it? Like, or you're just working. You want to make 50,000, but you don't know how to get there. You're just working a lot. You're working 16 hours. Like 4 or 5 times a week, you know, you're doing these crazy shifts, you're working like 50 to 60 hours a week, and you're like, I'm just trying to make more money, but then taxes are hurting me, and then my family feels neglected, and like, you have a plan, no, you have an idea, but you don't know how to get there, and it's the in-between part. You got the vision, you got your present day self, and then here, this is the problem, is the in-between part. Are your goals aligned with what you're doing? Some companies will not give you a raise. Some companies have no advancement. So you have to stay there as long as is helping you gain to your end goal, which can be more money, more freedom, whatever it is. Maybe you just want to buy a house. Maybe you want to pay off your car. Whatever it is, you got to figure out the vision and then Where are you currently, and then how to get there. That in between part. You don't want to get lost in the between part because then you'll never reach your goals.
Actually stopping working for an hour on a Saturday or for an hour on a Sunday. Stop your hustle culture, stop your toxic productivity. Actually stop that and write down what you're doing, where you're going, and how you plan to get there.
When you write things down, it's like you're writing your own standard operational procedure, right? You're your own boss when you write things down. You have to tell yourself, okay, these are the steps I need. These are the patterns I need every day to achieve an end result. Which is that end result? Your goal. How are you going to get there, right? It's like when you're working, you're on duty. These are the things, the tasks I have to do every day to maintain this place safe. Maintain myself alert. Maintain the clients happy and the guests happy and, comfortable. You have to do that for yourself. You have to be your own director. You have to direct your mind.
This methodology that I'm using is not going to get me there. So, once you write this down, once you detach from it, once you assess what is actually happening, then you can either get back to hunting in the field, because you're in the right field, in the correct field, or you can go and move to a different field where there is some game that you can...
How can I translate to you? All right, maybe you're hunting the wrong game. Maybe you're participating in the wrong sport. Some of us should not be in security, right? Maybe we should go to different pastures. Maybe instead of hunting, we should be fishing. There's so many different techniques and tools out there, and so many different pastures we can go to, and we have to consider that stuff so we can advance. If you're a security guard, does your profile, does your characteristics match well correctly with being a security guard? Is it like a puzzle piece? This is you, this is security, and it mixes, perfect match. Most people that are going to advance in security are people that are kind of A oriented, which means like alpha-ish, if you want to use those beta alpha terminologies, or at least they're alpha in the ways that suits security, right? It suits the field, which translate helps you out. Do you have the characteristics? Do you have an opposing presence, or do you have a calming demeanor? Depending what type of post you like to work, that's where you should be as a security guard. There's so many different type of posts, guys. There's so many. There's people that work nuclear sites, people that work the zoo, people that work special events, like nightlife, or they work at theaters. There's people that do loss prevention, and they're good at that. There's people that just mess with CCTVs, and they got an eye for CCTVs. They could tell, credit card fraud from a mile away when they're looking at that, right? They can tell the movements, right? They know how to project their voice. They know how to set up orders correctly. Are you in the right position, like in the chessboard? And are you the right piece? Are you the knight? Are you the rook? Are you the bishop? Which one are you? Are you just a pawn? Because if you have no directions and you're just going forward, you're the pawn. And what happens with a pawn many times in the chessboard, they're not really used that strategically. They're used as cannon fodder to bait certain people in. So then they sacrifice that pawn, aka you, the casual security guard, and then somebody else advances, somebody else gets the credit, and you're like, yo, what's going on?
Yeah, the hustle culture, and I'm still trying to get a grasp on it. Where, if I'm not mistaken, tell me what you think. Where you hustle, okay, you have all these sort of leaders in the community, right, who hustle, but they're successful. So it's kind of like, and they really advocate for the hustle. Mm-hmm. So then you have certain followers who embrace the idea of hustle, but meanwhile they're not getting success. But it doesn't matter, because the culture is the hustle itself. So it's kind of like, and then of course social media and the internet in general sort of can proliferate.
So coming from New York, we have a big hustle culture there, right? And security kind of has that as well. I want to say everywhere I've seen security, you got to hustle, you got to do the overtime, you got to work. So the hustle is a grind. And you could be as solid as a rock. And you know what happens when you got a rock and constantly grinding? It becomes into a pebble, it breaks down, and it could become sand, right? Now it's no longer a rock, it's no longer sturdy, it's no longer strong. Like, you got to be careful how you're going to hustle and for how long. There is an expiration date for everything that we do. Like, you could be a competitive athlete, and once there's only so much your knee and your lower back can take. If you're a cop or you're an armed security guard and you're constantly walking around with 25 pounds of gear, 40 hours a week standing, bro, you're not gonna make it. You're not gonna make it to your goal. And then you go make it to your goal, but your quality of life is trash. It's trash because you're constantly in pain. So you gotta find that balance. And the way you're gonna find that balance is by writing things down.
Here's what you gotta watch out for. Look, everyone says these days, you gotta enjoy the process, right? You gotta enjoy the process. You focus on the process. And there's a reason that people say that, and it makes sense. Here's the thing. If you're focusing on the process, but there are no results coming, you're making a mistake.
What would the process look like for a security guard? What are your goals? If you're a good guard, aim to becoming a supervisor. Aim to becoming go from being a good guard to becoming some type of supervisor position. And if you're not in a supervisor position, ask your company, how can you become a supervisor? Tell them you want to do more. Number one is going to shock them. Most people don't want to do more. And don't ask for any money. Because if you don't have the experience to be a supervisor or a manager and you're thinking about the long game of being a security guard, you got to gain a certain level of skills and practice. Like when I talk about books or I give advice on this channel, it means nothing if you don't practice these things. You have to embody this information. And you have to do something with these mental tools that we're giving you. Our online security guard presidents are giving you as a security guard, manager, owner, operator, whatever it is, right? But right now I'm talking to the people that are not in management position. And then what would that look like at your post? Being more of a supervisor, what can you do? Maybe sometimes making a list of equipment and seeing if the batteries work on the radios, doing certain tests and checks. Maybe during your shift, or maybe you come 5-10 minutes before your shift and you give them 5-10 minutes of your life, which is really is going to pay off in the long run. Why is that? Because you're going to gain certain level of managerial skills, and you're going to start creating standard operational procedures for yourself in that post, which increases the safety, increases the quality, increases your own self-respect, not just for yourself but also for the post. And let's say one day you have a new guard coming in, or you're being transferred to a better spot and they want you to train the guard that's going to come in to have a good high quality work ethic like you. But if they're not trained properly, they're not going to see the post the way you did, which a lot of places, a lot of guard companies are scared of bringing down the quality of the guard service, so that the guard there doesn't get moved up or get moved to another position because they're scared, right? Understandably. Look, there's so many risks into owning a business. The margins for security guard companies are not that high for companies in general, and a lot of us don't know this, right? We don't understand that the average business owner in the U.S. right now is making about $50,000 to $70,000 a year, and you can make that as an employee doing whatever if you get enough skills. Now, there's the other thing people don't understand. Once you reach about $45,000 and above, you're either a salary employee or you're in management position. You're in a management position, or you have a lot of responsibility. We got to do a lot of multitasking. And if you're just used to doing 1 or 2 moves per shift, and you're not used to doing multiple things, it's going to be hard to reach that level of value where you're getting monetized accordingly. And a lot of us want to get paid more than do more, and that's the wrong way of thinking.
But at a certain point, you've got to assess and say, wait a second, I haven't sold any widgets in a month and a half. I keep getting told no. Hey, I get I might need to ask 100 people to get 2 yeses, but if I asked 500 people and I've got no yeses, now you need to start to assess not just the process, but what is the actual widget that you're selling? What is the actual game that you're in?
Hey guys, if you like this type of content, be watching Jocko try and translate what he says in a way where it matters for security. Let me know. Press like, subscribe, leave a comment down below. If you want me to react to certain leadership content, because one of the best ways for you to advance as a security guard is learning how to become a leader. Followers, that's hard as well, but that's something you can learn on your own. Being a leader, Might take some practice, might take some mentoring, and it's all about advances. Take care, so love yourself. Ciao, lo quiero mucho.